This is an interview with Barb Gettmann for the Youngstown Historical Center of Industry and Labor Oral History Project titled Women at Work. The interview is being conducted at Barb's home in Lake Milton, Ohio on March 14th, 2023. My name is Susan Lowry. Hi, how are you today?
I'm wonderful.
Good. And you are my mother.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah, a long time. I had an aunt who just was like, "Oh my goodness, you're that old?" I was like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah.
All right, so what I have here are a few introduction questions to get us started, okay?
Okay.
All right. Where did you and your family live when you were growing up?
On Blott Road in North Jackson, Ohio.
Okay. And what did your parents do for a living?
My dad worked at White Star Trucking. He was a mechanic to begin with, and then they put him in the office and he was a dispatcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about your mom?
She worked for my uncle in a restaurant, in his restaurant.
Okay. And what was the name of the restaurant?
Paul's Truck Stop.
And what was so significant about this restaurant, though, being the truck stop? What, you know what I mean? There was no GM at the time, right? General Motors of Lordstown.
No, it wasn't GM. It was Route 18, or what you now call Mahoning Avenue, was a main trucking route. Mm-hmm. On the north, on the south, it would have been 224. Mm-hmm. So there was no freeway, and most of our business came from truck drivers. And we even had one trucking company that put a time clock in there so they could punch out and then punch back in.
Oh, I did not know. That's interesting.
Transcom. I remember the company.
Oh my goodness. You know what? What year did Uncle Paul open that restaurant? Do you remember? Or maybe even an estimation.
It was in the early 50s.
Really?
I was born in 51, and it was sometime after that he opened it.
Wow.
And he did have another restaurant in Salem, a small coffee shop.
Oh no, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm learning some new stuff today.
Yeah.
Okay, and where did you go to high school?
Jackson Milton High School. Go Blue Jays.
And what year did you graduate?
1969.
While you were in high school, did you have a job?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it the truck stop?
I waitressed at the truck stop. I washed dishes.
How old were you, or should I say how young were you when you started working there actually?
I was really probably 6 or 7. They'd stand me on a big wooden pop crate, and I used to do dishes.
Do you know I did that too? I remember. I did it too. Mm-hmm. I should be interviewed.
Yes, you should.
But anyways, aside from the truck stop though, the restaurant, what else did Uncle Paul do? What else?
We had the farm.
Yeah. What was on the farm?
Well, we had dairy cows, and then Grandpa died, and we went mainly to crops and beef.
Okay.
And we did have pigs for a while, chickens all the time, because Bubba, my grandmother, we always had chickens.
Yeah.
And the garden. There was the gas station next to the truck stop that we had. There was a crane behind the truck stop. Guys would come in with their loads and they would shift the weight of and my dad would get calls at 2 a.m. There's a crane job, and he'd go and run the crane to move the load around for the truck drivers.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. And there was a scale there so they could weigh and make sure they weren't going to get in trouble with the authorities on the road.
So like when you drive down the freeway, and you see those weigh stations for truckers, mm-hmm. At that point in the mid-century, and
there were no
60s,
weigh stations.
That was it.
Yeah, but I don't know how they would have got caught.
Yeah.
But they knew if their load had shifted, because they weighed themselves at the at the truck stop there.
Did you have to do anything with that, or was it just your dad who would help out?
Dad was the one that did the crane jobs, and Uncle Paul, and then later on my brother.
Oh, okay.
When he got old enough.
How many children between your mom and dad were there? How many siblings do you have?
Oh, there were 7 of us.
total?
There were 6 girls, 1 boy, and then my uncle had 2 boys, and they came to live with us.
That's right. So not only did your mom, continue to raise all of you kids.
She had 9 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were the oldest, so you did a lot of helping out with that, I'm sure.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so during high school, you did you baled hay as well, right?
Oh my goodness, yes.
You have a smile on your face. Did you like doing that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But I got one good story.
Yes, tell it.
There was the one bale of hay that came up with a snake coming out of it.
Oh, geez, no. That's why you that's why you hate snakes, isn't it?
It's part of the reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you were working at the restaurant and even on the farm, did that kind of like help you to achieve any of your future goals? Those lessons, those experiences there?
I learned how to work. My uncle taught me well. My mom and my dad taught me.
Yeah.
When you're going out there and taking an order out to a customer, on your way back, grab dirty dishes. I learned how to really use my movements and my time wisely. Mm-hmm. He taught me to work, and it was the same on the farm. You can't just say, "Oh, cows, I don't feel like feeding you today."
Yeah.
You had to do things at a certain time. I can remember my uncle coming into the kitchen at the farmhouse, and Bubba would say, "Are you going to make hay today?" And I knew that the hay was ready to make and you couldn't put it off. It didn't matter what you had planned, otherwise you were making hay because that was the right time. You learned to be on time, to do things right.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. The kids today don't know how to work. That's my biggest problem in managing restaurants that I've managed and everything else. They think that all they have to do is put on a uniform and show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not so. You got to work. They don't know how.
Yeah, it is. It's really scary.
Yes.
When it comes to that. In high school, what band instrument did you play?
I started on the clarinet, and then, of course, because I was one of the shortest people in the band, Mr. Snell changed me to the bassoon.
Yeah.
And I played the bassoon.
I bring that up because wasn't there, while you were in high school, a great interest in pursuing a musical education?
That is what I wanted to do. I had gone to, there was college in Chicago. Don't know the name of it or anything.
Yeah.
But they were going to take me in there. I would have majored in bassoon and music. And then I thought, I better work a year to get some money. I did. And as a matter of fact, there was an auction house in North Jackson.
Okay.
And my uncle owned the building, and he put in the little restaurant there. It wasn't a restaurant, but anyway, I ran that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I did. And the profits that I made from that one weekly event, I made enough money to pay my car off in a year.
Oh, what car was that? The Mustang?
Oh, it was a 68 Mustang.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was maroon, 4-speed, white leather seats.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and my brother totaled it. So, end of story.
End of story.
Okay.
But anyways, so you had that interest. So what was the interruption?
I met Gettmann.
Yeah, you met Dad.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And
how did you meet him? Where?
Oh, geez, at the truck stop. And I'll tell you what impressed me about him.
Okay.
I was waitressing, and a kid I graduated with, a friend, Ray Trehorn, he was cooking.
Are you sure you want to bring up these names? Are they safe to bring up?
Well, Ray's gone.
Okay. I think we're okay.
Yeah, and we were good friends. But
Okay, good.
Ray was the cook, and Alan would come in with a couple of his work buddies, and they'd leave me a very nice tip, and Alan would send a tip back to the cook. Blew me away.
Nice. Wow.
Impressed me to no end.
Huh.
So there's that story. I met him at the truck stop. He asked me to go out on a date. We did. 3.5 months later, we're married.
Then you had a honeymoon baby.
Pretty much 9 months later, yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's 10 months.
Okay, 10 months. Yes,
yeah,
it was.
January to October.
Right.
Yeah, no, you did good.
Okay.
You're safe.
Right.
You're really safe.
Yeah, my math gets a little bad. Okay.
Do you have any grandchildren?
I have 10 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren.
Wow, fantastic. Now, when you got married, did you continue to work, or were you?
No, I didn't work. I was a mom.
Yeah. Did you like being a mom?
Yes, but I missed being out of the house also, because I had always been around a lot of other people. The interaction with other people I missed. I love my kids,
Yeah.
but I missed some grown-up talk.
Yeah. So what changed? Because you did end up going back to work. Why? What? Where did you go to work, and why?
Okay. Well, after the truck stop, I really didn't work for quite a while, and then we moved to this house here, in Lake Milton,
Yeah.
and I can't remember how it happened. I just ended up working at Burger King.
Oh, okay. Didn't you do any kind of housekeeping?
Oh, yeah, in between.
Yeah, I can't remember that.
I cleaned house for a neighbor lady,
Yeah.
and big bucks, $40 a week.
But why did you do that?
For $40, I could put gas in the car, take the kids to soccer, band practice. We had church activities. I did it so I could have money to spend on you kids.
Yeah.
I want piano lessons.
Oh, yes.
Piano lessons.
Yeah. What you felt was important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
For
then
the
Burger
kids.
King came around too.
And Burger King then, and that's why I worked there, because I didn't make much, but I made enough, like I said, for gas and taking you kids all over the place, baseball, football,
Yeah.
you name it, we did it.
What kind of hours and what shift did you have at Burger King?
I worked in the morning. Okay, I became opening manager, and I would be there by 4:30, 5 o'clock, I think it was, a good hour before, because I opened. I lit all the French fryers, the broiler, the grill, and then you turn on the lights. You have to do the shake machine, all of that,
Okay.
and then I worked until 2 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. They wanted me to work weekends, and that was one thing I said, no, I'm not working weekends. That's my time with my kids and my husband. And Monday through Friday it was. And of course, you kids got yourselves off to school. Of course, your dad was here. He worked night shift. And you got yourselves off to school. You grew up fast. And I was home when you got home.
Okay. And now how about advancement opportunities within that company?
They had, for hourly associate managers, they had 4 levels at that time. When you're a level 4, you're getting ready to go salaried. They're grooming you for that. I did not want to go salaried. because at salaried,
Why?
they own you.
Yeah.
You work whatever day they want you to work, go to meetings that they want you to go to. You have to have that store where they want it to be. QSC, quality service. I can't remember what the C is. But you had to have everything just right. There was a lot of pressure to keep the place quality service, cleanliness, to keep the place clean.
Yeah.
And of course, for me, that was a biggie too. I wanted it clean.
Yeah.
So I had one friend of mine that worked there. I hired her, and things were a little slow. And she'll tell you the story. I gave her a toothbrush to go out front and clean around the drink machines.
Oh, jeez.
She still talks about it to this day. But no, there was a lot of pressure to keep things clean, to keep service times up, to have a good quality item go out. And if I had gone from I wouldn't go level 4. They made me level 4 opening manager because at that time I would have had to work weekends. Mm-hmm. And there was no extra money. You get the promotion, there's no extra pay.
Well, so that's a thought. Was there any type of pay gaps between you and maybe, say, a male equivalent?
Not to my knowledge. Okay. I was pretty much one of, well, I'll call it a grunt, because I never went salaried. I pretty much refused to do that. And I could see it. There were managers that were salaried, that were over me. And something came up where the level 4 managers were supposed to go into Niles for a meeting. There was no pay for being there. There was no gas money compensation. And I said, no, I can't afford that. The reason I'm here is to make money for my kids, and you want me to pay for my gas to go out there,
right? Take
time away from my kids to go to this meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm not being compensated.
Yeah.
They sent one of the managers. I didn't go.
Oh,
I did know.
Systemic ladies, I don't know.
I did know how to put my foot down.
Yeah.
It was like there was a lot of swearing going on, and customers are coming in. And I finally talked to the district manager, and I said, that's not good. I'm here in the kitchen. I could hear it. Customers could hear it. Do you think we need that kind of language here? It stopped.
That's awesome. That's cool. How do you... oh my gosh, how do I want to word this? What was your pool like? What made them be like, what Barb Gettmann is saying right now, about this language, why should we believe her? Why should we care? What do you think that it was that made them respect you in that sense, in that particular sense? And say,
Okay.
Yeah, you know what, let's nip that in the bud.
They saw my work ethic. They knew what I did to make the store better. They could see that I cared about the store, that I wanted it to be good.
Yeah.
Because of that, they would take things that I said into consideration. I think this would be better this way. And they would consider it. Sometimes they do what I thought, sometimes not.
Right.
And it had to do with the language in particular. I made a good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because of my work ethic, how I cared about what their store looked like, they respected me and considered what I had to say.
Now, when you do say they in particularly, was this the owners of the building? Was this just the administration, the managers,
Okay.
the sub-managers? Like, where was the level? Because it wasn't always respect there.
Yeah. All right, there were some managers just over me, what I would have been if I'd have done what they wanted. There were those. And then we had the store manager, store supervisor, and the owners of the store, district manager, and then the owners of the store.
Okay.
The district manager had known me from the time I worked there, and he was part of the reason the swearing stopped.
Okay.
Because I presented it to him.
Okay.
And he probably took it to the owners. But what was happening...
Because, yeah, I'd like to know more about the environment and the work conditions then that you experienced while being a manager.
Well, because I didn't go salaried, and I was still, a level 4 manager, and I didn't have to work weekends, there was some animosity.
And this would probably be then with the managers within that building.
The managers within... The
Okay,
managers that were level 4 that had to work the nights and weekends.
Right.
And I understand, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to do what they did, which is, I'll call it sabotage. I don't know what else to call it. There were drain plugs that weren't put back in. So when I turned water on, the water would drain out. It wasn't heating up like it should have. That one in particular, I guess there were other little things before that, and it wasn't until the drain plugs weren't being put back in every once in a while that I realized they're doing things to show me that they're not happy. All it did was make me better.
Yeah. What did you do to overcome that?
I guess I said something to the manager of the store, but I realized that she couldn't do anything more than I could, so I dealt with it. I put the drain plugs back in. Once in a great while, when I saw the closing manager, I say, "Hey, do you know one of your workers didn't put the drain plug in?" I says, "But that's okay, I can catch that now." I let him know that I knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And what they were doing.
Yeah.
But once again, I solved the problem myself. That's what makes a good manager. That's what makes a good store supervisor. That's why they wanted me salaried. That's why they wanted to own me. But you solve problems, you learn to work.
Exactly. Were there any other types of disrespect towards you? And if so, do you think it was because you were a woman, or just because maybe they just didn't like you, or you weren't part of their clique, or...
There was just one in particular salaried manager. He was qualified, barely, but I did have a problem with him.
Did you stand up to him? Did you lay low?
I stood my ground, but I can't explain it. It just wasn't a good situation, but I worked with it.
Right.
I put up with it.
Yeah.
And it was nothing racial, sexual, or anything. Just little remarks said.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? How about any type of sexual innuendos or harassment in any of your jobs? How about waitressing?
Yeah. All right. This is one of my favorite stories because it tells how much I was loved. Really.
Okay.
Of course, I worked the night shift. And at 2:30, all the drunks would come in.
At the truck stop?
At the truck stop.
Okay.
But my uncle was there, my brother was there, and Ray was cooking. And so I wasn't alone. They were there to back me up.
Yeah.
So I was waiting on this one table, gave them their food, and the one guy started grabbing at me. And I backed away, and I had the food in my hands.
When you say grabbing, are you saying maybe just your leg, your arm, or is it your butt?
Upper.
Yeah? Wow. That's terrible.
And my uncle caught on to what was going on real quick.
Okay, good.
And I put the plate down, And he started still. And the next thing I know, he quit. And I turned around and looked. And there stood my uncle, Ray, and my brother. All of them, all three of them stood there looking at that table. And everything got quiet. And Uncle Paul walked out and talked to the guy, and he said, I want you to pay your bill and leave. Mm-hmm. And he says, I'm not done eating. Uncle Paul said, pay your bill and leave the lady a really good tip. So, yeah, there was, you're working with drunk people.
Yeah.
Most of the time it wasn't bad.
Yeah. But how did you deal with it most of the time?
Oh, the one time I was going to hit somebody over the head with a Coke bottle. But the Coke started running down my arm, and I realized I shouldn't do that.
Probably maybe saved you a little bit.
Yeah, probably. He made me really mad. But I walked away from it most times. I ignored it. There's, they say things, but, this is back in the 60s, late 60s. There wasn't that much of this sexual harassment stuff.
Right.
And it was
Yeah,
customers.
right.
How do you even...
Yeah, because you want to make them happy. You want them to come back and pay, and you don't want to be in an establishment that deters this away because you want them to pay. You want them to be there.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I just put up with a lot of it.
Wow.
And like I said, I had my posse in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I was safe.
You were kind of lucky in that regard.
Yes, I was. But that...
Loved.
That was... And at the time I didn't even realize that's what it was because it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Women accepted it.
That's interesting.
A lot of the other waitresses had the same problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see.
I got it worse because I was midnight.
Oh, I see. So yeah, your family pretty much treated you pretty good then. Like no major issues in that regard.
Yeah. And may I say, it wasn't the truck drivers that really gave me a bad time.
No?
Most of them were very polite and respectful to me.
All right.
It was the people that were drunk or that came in there thinking it's a truck stop and they could get away with some of the stuff they tried to get away with. I would like to say that.
Yeah. You know what? That is good. Yeah. So let me think here. After Burger King, you had to take a health sabbatical for some years.
Yes, I did.
But eventually you had to get back out there in the workforce again. You just could not sit still. So what did you do?
It was your Aunt Max's fault.
Uh-huh.
She was working at this little restaurant in Ellsworth, and she says they could really use the help in the afternoon. Yeah. And of course, you kids were all gone. Alan was working in the afternoon, so I went to work for him.
Yeah.
And
this time you could spend the money on yourself?
Yes.
And your new grandkids and everything?
Yeah. But I waitressed and I cooked. It was a very small restaurant.
Yeah.
And, I'd take the order, go back, throw it on the grill, put it together. And
dishes,
the whole bit.
Ring out the cash register,
clean up a mess.
Deal with some Western Reserve coaches.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was fun.
So yeah, you would get your regulars, and it just made it to where it might not have been easy, and it still would have been stressful, but that was what you liked about those jobs, right? It's the people, the customers.
The customers. I enjoyed doing the best I could for them.
Yeah. What was the least thing that about those jobs that you had to do?
Clean restrooms.
Clean restrooms.
That was the worst.
Oh.
And Max was a trooper. She used to clean Young's restaurant. And when she started working there, people talked about how clean the restrooms were because of Max.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. That said.
Yeah. With that said.
That really was the worst of the job.
Okay. Okay, I see. Well, let's see here. With working outside the home during, well, I think working outside the home and juggling family life and the kids, that obviously it kind of worked itself out because, yeah, you really stood your ground about working Monday through Fridays in the morning. Your husband worked in the evenings and you were there for the kids in the evening. But was there any other kind of challenges having to juggle a husband, children, and a job? And if so, what might have been those challenges? Was it like even just keeping the house clean or being able to go to doctor appointments? Like, was there anything?
Okay, I wouldn't call it a challenge,
Yeah?
but I would call it a sacrifice.
What's that?
Friendships.
Oh.
Time with my sisters. I graduated from Jackson Milton. Go Blue Jays. Right now, I have relationships with kids I graduated with, friends. We still get together.
Yeah.
At that time, I had friends, but they weren't close friends. No, they were close friends, but I couldn't spend time with them
Right.
like I would have liked to.
Oh, yeah.
So-
And you would have needed that
Yeah.
being a woman. We need those connections,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And, but at least, you were able to get out of the home. So you made some connections at Burger King, though, didn't you? Some good friendships, at least one in particularly?
Yes, the lady that hired me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's pretty fantastic.
she was fantastic.
Yeah.
She did QSC, quality, service, cleanliness, to the 100th degree,
Okay.
and we're still friends.
Yeah.
And we're not as close as I wish we could be.
Distance doesn't help.
Distance doesn't help.
I hear your daughter lives in the same neighborhood as her.
Yes,
so yeah,
she does.
distance really does not help.
I think my daughter sees her more than I do.
Very possibly.
And then COVID hit, and we couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't really seen each other since COVID because we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then when you kind of get out of the habit,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
Yeah, but she's still a good friend. I mean, she would help when you kids graduated. She was here helping cook and clean up and set up. She's a great person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something else I also don't want to forget is you had a newspaper route. This is not a normal job description for somebody who works out, a woman working outside the home. But you did. Why did you choose that job? Why did it work? Tell me about it.
Okay.
And when? When was this? Can we just say that the parameter was 1980s? Can we say that?
Okay. Probably.
Because we might not know the exact dates.
I was in Youngstown.
Ah, so it could have been the 70s too.
We lived in Youngstown.
Uh-huh.
I hated it. We're on this little postage stamp yard, a little house away from family. And anyway, they were looking for a newspaper carrier, and I thought, I could do that. The kids and I could walk and deliver papers. And that's what we did, all three kids. And then we got another route added to it, so it was bigger. And with that money, the kids each got a bike. Oh. Once again, we spent money on the kids. But I got some for me, too, that time. Yeah. And then we moved to North Jackson. So I gave that route up, but it so happened that the route in North Jackson opened up. Oh. And it was a driving route.
Okay.
So your dad got me a Jeep because it was better for the winter on those roads.
Yeah.
We got in the Jeep. After school, I'd pick you kids up. The timing was perfect.
Interesting.
We'd deliver the paper Sunday morning. We'd get up early before church, deliver papers.
Oh my goodness.
And you kids,
Yeah.
I don't know what you got, but you got stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't know what I got either.
But I remember the bikes in particular.
That I definitely remember too. And you know what? That's what makes a childhood. That's what made my childhood. That purple bike with the glitter, can't even say it. Glitter purple banana seat. I mean.
And the pom-poms.
Oh, did I have pom-poms too? See,
I think
really
so.
remember the banana seat because it was purple and glitter. It was that 70s thing, that 70s glitter. Oh, yeah. But yeah, that, I remember that distinctly as well. I also remember, one of the challenges that I'll share then about you having the paper route and taking us kids and being in the Jeep. We were in the Jeep. You had to get out of the Jeep, and I don't know if both brothers were there.
Oh,
but
no, it was in the little station wagon.
I remember a Jeep, and I remember bumping the gear, and going backwards down the hill.
Okay.
And you ran and you jumped in and pulled on that emergency brake.
Oh.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, I forgot. I thought the driving route in Youngstown.
I don't know when it was. I was little.
I had a station wagon then.
I remember the station wagon and the way back.
And you and the boys were in the station wagon, and we delivered to a nursing home.
Yes, another challenge. What happened about having a job and taking your kids?
So we would take the newspapers into this nursing home. You were just little,
Yes,
little.
Yeah.
And the people just loved it because here comes the paper. And it wasn't the paper, it was the kids, and they'd give you apples or cookies or something.
Yeah.
And then the one day I left, and it seemed a little quiet, but, we're doing the job. And then Susie's not here. I said, yeah, she's back there. I know she is somewhere in that mess.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, because here's this little girl, and then two other little boys, and then all the paper stacked all over.
Yeah, and the extra paper that wrapped them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, Susie wasn't there. She was back at the nursing home.
Yep. Oh, that's okay. And,
So anyway, we went back to get her, and there she is sitting on some guy's lap, and he's giving her juice and cookies. And
as far as I was concerned, I was happy as a clam. No
Do
worries.
I really have to come with you, Mom? This is nicer than the boys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was another memorable.
Yeah.
But, I worked with your kids. That was fun.
That's it. And you know what? That's what some women do. I just recently spoke to somebody yesterday, and she went with her mom, went to college, raising the 4 kids. Then she was working at a counseling service, and she would go with her mom. And guess what she ended up doing? She ended up working in the counseling as well, getting her degree. But she went with her mom. And that's what happens sometimes. And you learn from that, even as a young person. I also want to bring up now, we weren't young kids when this happened, but you did have to take care of your in-laws as they got older.
I didn't have to. I did it.
Yeah, I guess you could say it that way. For real. But that was a challenge for you as you were getting, you should be retired and relaxing and just being yourself. But that was something you ended up having to do as well.
Yeah.
And do you appreciate the fact that you did have to do that? Or was that something that you kind of resent?
No, at the time I was angry with some of the family because they all lived away. There was nobody close, different states.
Yeah.
And they all were telling me how to do my job here.
Yeah.
And it got tricky. It finally got to a point where we called the other family members and said, come and get your parents.
Yeah.
They're yours now, Borky's done. And nobody came and got them. But
yeah. And they, go ahead.
Most of the advice, and they understood that they were putting a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
And it calmed down.
That's good.
Yeah. But that's hard. When you work in family there, you don't want to hurt feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So one of my ending questions is open-ended, and it's basically, we talked a lot, and we said, we shared a lot, but is there something that maybe we didn't talk about, that maybe we missed, but back here you realized, oh no, this is something interesting or pivotal or noteworthy? Was there anything else that maybe that you'd like to share as you from your experiences having worked outside the home?
I did a lot of different jobs, and for not much money. The money wasn't part of it. If I had enough to get my kids some bikes, get their piano lessons and books paid for, that's what mattered, not the money so much. But getting out of the house, the interaction with other people over the age of 5. That was it. I enjoyed working. I can't say that there were... I didn't say, oh, it's Monday, I got to go to work. I was never like that. I went to work, I enjoyed my jobs, and most of the people I worked with, you just learn to do that. And of course, God blessed me with the best job ever now.
Yes. The best job ever.
The best.
I've heard that 2 times today. What is your new and current job that you will probably die doing?
I work at North Jackson Antiques and Uniques. I think I could say that.
Yep, you sure can.
And I work with Casey, who is the owner, and my sister Max is there. When I first started, I didn't know anything about the painting and the crafts that we do, but she saw some things I had done. She knew we could work together. I've learned to paint. I teach classes, do demos. Casey is a fair woman. I've watched her in action be fair to people that come in and want to sell something. Max, she works her little behind off. Casey says, I'm the organizer and Max is the white tornado. Max keeps things clean. Now I do too, to a degree. But we all 3 work together. We used to have Lenny. He's gone. We miss him desperately. He was there 7 years. He was the old man that would greet people. Now we have a cat that greets people. But
she's doing a good job.
Yes. But God has blessed me through all those years of taking orders, putting up with stuff. And there was a lot more, but He blessed me with this job and these people I work with.
That's awesome. All right, fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for spending time with me and sharing this stuff. And
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And Charlie's going to say bye-bye.
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 Oh, yes.